Chow Down Chow or Random Gaming, depending on
A
what
little
you're
bit
watching.
about UFC 250, Nunes versus Spencer. When I first saw the card, I had one word on my mind: weak. It was a very, very weak card. You wouldn't normally see Amanda Nunes and Felicia Spencer being the main event of a milestone pay-per-view like UFC 250. However, that's the world we're in. Coronavirus, blah, blah, blah. But, there's a lot of high stakes fight on the card. But in terms of the top level action that should be headlining the card, a little bit weak. I would have wanted another title fight on UFC 250. But we have to settle for Nunes versus Spencer alongside a ton of fights in the bantamweight division that could very much decide the future of the bantamweight division. Now, I'll cover that a little later. Again, I'll start with the prelims and the early prelims. I'll give you a little bit of my thoughts on some of the fights that are happening, some exciting fights that I think you should look out for. First of all, Jussier Formiga, Alex Perez, the veteran Jussier Formiga, trying to get back into the win column. I think this is his time to really establish himself back into the top echelon of the division. So I'm gonna go with Formiga on that one. Alex Caceres, Chase Hooper. Chase Hooper, the youngest fighter on UFC roster, a great grappler against journeymen like Alex Caceres, who's always been like a gatekeeper for like really young talent to break into UFC. We'll see how Chase Hooper handles that one. Really good fight between Cody Stamen and Brian Kelleher. Brian Kelleher making a quick turnaround after getting that knockout win. That's going to be a pretty action-packed fight as well. Brian Kelleher, I'm really looking forward to him really breaking into the rankings. So I'm going with him to winning that fight in the featherweight. I think it's the bantamweight division. Anyways, the biggest name on the card on the prelims, sadly, is Ian Heinisch, who is coming off two straight losses, I believe, versus the streaking Gerald Mearshart, who just came off a win, making a pretty quick turnaround as well by fighting Ian Heinisch at the top of the ESPN portion of the card. That'd be a good fight. I'm gonna go with Ian Heinisch because I think he has gotten off to a couple of fluke decision losses. So I think he can get back into the win column with this one. Gerald Mearshart, with all due respect, a great fighter, a veteran. I just don't think he will ever break into the rankings and that sort of a thing. So I'm gonna go with Ian Heinisch on that one. And now, without further ado, going into the main card. Sugar Sean O'Malley is coming back. Probably the biggest name on the card. Fighting Eddie Wineland, who is I don't know if he's ranked now, but formerly ranked fighter in the division. So I think, first of all, Sean O'Malley, always exciting, undefeated to watch, always exciting to watch him fight. Lots of star action. That's going to be a great fight. I think Eddie Wineland is a veteran in the division, has a lot of experience, good everywhere. We'll see how Sean O'Malley handles that. I'm loving the activity from Sean O'Malley after he fought on the Connor Cowboy card. I've been dying to see him get back into the octagon, so we'll see how he handles a really top level opponent like Eddie Wineland. I think if he wins, he deserves someone ranked in the top 10. It's time to push him. UFC has a star on their hands. All you have to do is push him after he wins. They're both in the bantamweight division. If Sean O'Malley wins, you pair him up with like the loser of a Sun Sao Garbrandt. I think that makes the most sense. Give him a top level competition, and we'll see how he handles that. But this is what I'm talking about. A lot of bantamweight action on the card. 5 matches on the main card. 3 are in the top 15 of the bantamweight division, starting with Sean O'Malley and Eddie Wineland. Now going into the next match, Anthony Rocco Martin, who has been kind of a journeyman in the UFC, has wins and losses, coming off a very, very razor thin decision win. I forgot against who, but I was watching that fight. It was really, really close. Fighting Neo Magny, who just got a very dominant win against Li Jingliang. First of all, Li Jingliang is very underrated. I think he's a great fighter, and one day he'll be in the top 15 of the welterweight division. Neil Magny dismantled him. And Anthony Rocco Martin came off a very razor thin decision win. Hasn't really had a lot of impressive wins in the UFC. So I'm going to have to go with Neil Magny on this one. I think it's time that he reestablishes his place amongst the welterweights as that sort of a cowboy Cerrone, kind of a gatekeeper 10 to 15 dude. That's always been Neil Magny. And I think he's just finding his groove back, getting back to his rightful place. And who knows, maybe this extended break has rejuvenated him, and he might one day go on to fight a really top level competition. You know, if Neil Magny wins, you could give him someone like a Robbie Lawler, someone who's really looking to get back into the win column as well. So, you know, I think that would be a great fight. Neil Magny, Anthony Rocco Martin. I'm predicting Neil Magny with a decision win. We'll see what happens. Anyways, so keep going on to the next fight. Aljamain Sterling versus Corey Sandhagen. This is a pick'em fight. Two top-level bantamweights who's good everywhere going at it. A little bit of animosity on social media. I have no clue how this fight will turn out. Great fight, Aljo and Corey. I think this could well, it's not very, very much. This is the title eliminator. This is the next title challenger. Whoever wins this fight is the next title challenger for the bantamweight title. So whether that be Aljo or Corey Sandhagen, this is a very important fight, a massive fight for both men. If I had to pick, I honestly couldn't pick. If you look at the odds maker are as confused as I am. This is a pick'em. I have no clue who wins this fight. I have no clue. I don't know. In my heart of heart, I'm going to go with Corey Sandhagen because I've seen Aljamain Sterling climb all the way up to the top and then sort of fall back down. Now he's worked his way up again. Just based on prior experience, he might do it again. That's why I'm going with Corey. But you really don't know. This is a fantastic fight for tune in. So tune in for that one. Now, moving further up the card, and another massive fight in the bantamweight division is the ex-champion Cody Garbrandt, who just came off of a loss against Pedro Munoz, facing Rafael Sunsao, who is a mainstay top 5 level opponent in the bantamweight division. Sunsao has run into a little bit of a trouble recently, on a little bit of a skid, losing to a couple really, really high-level opponents like Marlon Moraes, who went on to challenge for the title, and Corey Sandhagen. So, of course, we know Cody Garbrandt losing twice to TJ Dillashaw and losing to Pedro Munoz. We'll see how he adjusts his game plan. I still think Cody Garbrandt has what it takes to, again, be champion one day, so we'll see how that goes. Rafael Sunsao, with all due respect, is a very respectable veteran, good everywhere, but I think if you look at the interviews that Cody Garbrandt has done, it looks like he has made the necessary adjustments to get back into the title picture. So I think Cody wins by knockout. He reestablishes himself as a legitimate threat in the bantamweight division. Sun Sao, I really don't think this loss would do too much to him. You can pair him up with I don't really know, someone like I don't know. Someone like the loser of Corey Sandhagen, Aljamain Sterling. Something like that. Like, he'll have plenty of good fights in the bantamweight division. He'll still be there. He's still a tough, tough customer. But I'm going with Cody Garbrandt. Alright, so now I'm on to the main event. Amanda Nunes versus Felicia Spencer. Now, Felicia Spencer fought Chris Cyborg. She fought Megan Anderson. She fought Zara Farron. Won all of those fights. You know, it's she didn't win against Chris Cyborg, pardon me, but she was very competitive against Chris Cyborg. So we know Felicia Spencer is a tough, tough customer. All right, she's no joke on the ground. She can finish you off on the ground and pound. She can finish you up with submissions. She's strong. She's big. She's fast. However, she's fighting Amanda Nunes. Amanda Nunes beat Holly Holm, Chris Cyborg, Jermaine Durandamy, all in dominant fashion. I think there's a classic fight. She's one of the champions in the UFC, sort of like a Valentina Shevchenko or like a uh, Valentina Shevchenko, Amanda Nunes. I'm trying to think of the men's champion. If there's a champion that's sort of unbeatable, like Amanda is. Can't really think of any like maybe like John Jones. She's sort of in that range where she's a goat already. She's one of the greatest of all time, no doubt. And it's just hard to convince pay-per-view buyers that any challenger would actually win a fight against her. This is the same thing. If you look at all the promo packages, it's Felicia Spencer's ready to shock the world. She's facing the GOAT. All the promotions on Amanda Nunes. I think it's gonna be a quick TKO on probably ground and pound round 2. It'll be over. I don't think Felicia Spencer stands a chance. However, prove me wrong. I'll be watching. Really not much to say. I predict Amanda Nunes wins. You know what? I'm actually really interested on what the betting lines are saying. Of course, Amanda Nunes is I believe, the biggest favorite on the card. Doesn't surprise me. I think this is a wash of a main event. You know, who knows? Maybe Felicia Spencer, because how tough she is, can make the fight interesting, make the fight competitive. I don't know. So,